One day, Percy was waiting at the junction. He had a long, heavy goods train which was bound for Tidmouth. But he had to wait for Henry to pass for the passenger train. Henry was late, but the sun was warm and Percy didn't mind waiting. At last, Henry came. "I'm sorry I'm late," he panted. "I had to wait for ages for the connection on the other railway." "Do you know," he went on, "that they have goods trains on the other railway that don't have brakevans? It doesn't seem right, does it? I'm glad to see that you've still got yours." Just then the signal dropped, and Henry thought he'd better go. "Must make up for lost time. Goodbye." Henry puffed importantly away. Percy was intrigued. "A goods train with no brakevan?" Later, Percy told his driver what Henry had told him. His driver laughed and explained, "Goods trains on the other railway don't need brakevans. They have special brakes, like passenger trains and Henry's Flying Kipper. Your trucks just have couplings. So they need brakes at each end of the train in case something happens. You know what silly things trucks are. They did it to James on Gordon's Hill." "Pah!" said Percy. He thought he knew better than James. "What's good enough for the other railway is good enough for me. I don't need a stupid old brakevan." "Don't be so silly, Percy," scolded his driver. But Percy took no notice. It would have been better if he had. Next day, Percy was shunting trucks at the harbor. He was just completing his train by coupling up to the brakevan when the shunter's attention was distracted. The shunter thought he had coupled the brakevan to the end of the train, but he hadn't. All might have been well if Percy hadn't started so quickly. The guard blew his whistle, and Percy snorted away, hoping to get a good run at the hill. But the guard and his van were left behind. The guard waved and shouted, "Stop, Percy! Stop!" But Percy was too busy climbing the hill. The jerk had weakened a loose coupling, and as Percy snorted up the hill, the last four trucks began to hurtle down the hill towards the harbor. On! Yelled the trucks. The guard was standing on the veranda of his brakevan, and he saw the trucks hurtling towards him. Thinking quickly, the guard scrambled to the brake handle of his van, and he screwed it on tight. He checked that the brakes were fully on tight. Then he jumped out. Just in time. The van screeched as it was pushed along, but the truck's mad rush was halted. Percy backed his trucks carefully down the hill to see what happened. "Phew," said Percy's driver, as they helped to clear the mess. "You see, Percy, brake vans have their uses after all." And Percy had to admit, his driver was right.